Hello, Screaming Demons, and welcome to the Screens from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey.
This is a bi-weekly horror podcast in which two horror fans discuss all things horror, including news, recent watches, horror collectibles, and more.
Hey, I'm one of those co-hosts. I'm Casey.
And I'm Sam.
And
let's get
Grindhouse.
Scream and grind.
No, that's not this show.
Grindhouse coffee. Nope,
Sure.
That's nothing.
Yeah. It's our spinoff to this one, Sam.
Starting strong.
Yeah, we are here. We're here. We're Screens from the Basement. That's Sam. I'm Casey. We're here with a brand new episode. We need to change our intro. That's one thing I just thought of. Because we're a bi-weekly horror podcast. Sure, we're quickly becoming a weekly horror podcast.
Yeah, we should just
our regular listeners. Should we just change it right now live?
This is a horror podcast.
Yeah, we don't need to put when they don't need to know. Oh no, what happened? I deleted the wrong thing. Okay, we're doing this live, people. We're live, pal. All right, we're good. We're here. We're doing Screams. We're doing it live. We're talking about the 2007 release of Grindhouse from Eli Roth, Quentin Tarantino. We're talking Planet Terror and Death Proof. Why are we talking about these movies?
Because Eli Roth made his Thanksgiving short into a feature as of tonight, neither of us have seen.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet.
But we will, because I think we're planning on going at some point Thanksgiving weekend.
It seems fitting, right?
Yeah, we were going to go this past weekend, but then I got zero sleep on Saturday night and would have passed out in the theater seat had we gone Sunday like we had initially planned.
Yeah. And it's going to end up, we're going to be more festive this way. We're going to go out Thanksgiving weekend at some point. I don't know. It's going to be a busy weekend. We're going to find probably like Sunday. That's probably
Sunday. Yeah. Let's just plan on that. Sunday matinee, Casey.
For you out there in Sioux Falls, you might find us at the theater Sunday watching Thanksgiving in the theater.
Which I've literally heard nothing but good things about so far.
Yeah, I've been hearing great things.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about this. We both had a chance to watch Grindhouse in its full, complete.
Yeah, did you watch your Blu-ray of it?
Yeah, So do you have? Oh, I should have grabbed it. Do you have the Blu-ray where it's all on one disc and it has everything in it? Yeah,
and it has the bonus disc, but it's all just special features.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't dive into that, but I was like, God, if I have time, I want to watch the commentaries, and I just didn't get around to it. I mean, it's like a 3-hour experience in and of itself.
Oh, longer than that. It's almost 4 hours.
Yeah, that's true. It took my whole Sunday.
Alone is 2 hours. Yeah.
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 So
good movie,
we're gonna jump into it. Might be a good movie. I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Good movie. End of show. Thanks for
tuning in. The show. It's good. Thumbs up. Bye-bye. All right. Sam, what else is going on?
We are also going to be talking our first couple of Screamin' Mad Newses in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Both of which are fairly exciting.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. The first thing up in Screamin' Mad News is that
that was like
was
my
that your screen? That was the sound effect.
Yeah, the sound effect.
I thought you deleted something again.
No.
Like you were trying to pull off the graphic and it just like disappeared and you were like,
I need to put like an actual like sound bite into our machine.
Yeah. Oh God,
someone screaming.
Give me a soundboard.
Yeah.
I'll
get the
Wilhelm
scream as our Screaming Mad News? Yeah.
Yeah, the Wilhelm scream. Yeah.
We can do that. Anyway, you were saying.
So the first bit of Screaming Mad News is that Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw is developing a remake of Wes Craven's 90s classic, People Under the Stairs.
People Under the Stairs.
Casey?
Yeah.
I've never seen People Under the Stairs.
Oh, you've never seen it? Okay.
We should do an episode on it sometime because I've heard really good things. We talked about it on our 90s countdown. And I love Wes Craven. I especially love later Wes Craven, like the post Wes Craven that everybody talks about. That's entirely my shit. And so I feel like
People Under the Stairs was 92?
92? Okay. Yeah.
91. I was close.
Oh, wow. Dang. Okay.
So 91 was People Under the Stairs. I like this one a lot. Some might argue his best of the 90s, but Scream exists. So those people are crazy. No, it's great. I think it's number 2 of Wes Craven's 90s films. I think it's incredible. This movie's great. And to hear Jordan Peele is not directing, but his production company, Monkey Paw, is going to be behind this, much like they were for Candyman that came out a couple years ago. This is kind of perfect news. There's no one else I want to hear their name attached to People Under the Stairs besides Jordan Peele.
Yeah. You know what I find really cool about Peele is like he directs original ideas that he writes. But his production company will give like safe bets in the forms of like well-known IP, like Candyman, to filmmakers of like color that have not maybe gotten that jump yet into the bigger, like, you know what I mean? I just think that's so cool how I hope he doesn't direct this. I hope he gives some young and hungry up-and-comer a chance. And I think he will, you know?
Yeah, I've never looked at it that way before, but that's a good point where it's because the crazy thing is, it's like you said, the safe bets are the remakes, Candyman, People Under the Stairs, stuff like that. Whereas you have Jordan Peele movies, which are entirely new concept, not based on anything.
Yeah.
Those are also safe bets, though, because Jordan Peele movies are.
Well, yeah. Now with his name, it's like, it's a safe bet. I don't know. I love to see him capitalizing on his Get Out success in such cool ways. You know, I mean, he even did it with like the Twilight Zone with his series where he rebooted it and he let like up and coming filmmakers direct segments of it. And I don't know. I just big fan of Jordan Peele. Is what I'm saying.
I love Jordan Peele. I've only ever watched the first episode of that Twilight Zone because it was when like. It's Paramount Plus, right?
Now it's on Paramount Plus, yes, because
where was it? It was on like their thing.
It was like a CBS All Access. Is what I think it was.
So I remember when that first episode dropped, it was like free because they wanted to get you to sign up for that CBS. And I watched that, and I literally got goosebumps watching Peele do the intro to the story, thing. And I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. And I never went back to the rest of it. I've heard mixed things, which is it's an anthology. Like
it's an anthology. It's like the original Twilight Zone series is full of mixed bag stuff, right? Like, and that's just the nature of anthologies. I think was there a second season of his Twilight Zone?
I think it got 2, right?
I think it got 2. I think I've only seen
people
the
out there
first
listening.
Season, though.
Tell us.
Yeah. Let me know. You know what? I'll probably end up revisiting this series anyways, just because we've talked about it and now it's rattling around in my brain.
Yeah.
And I've been itching for some new Peele stuff because I've rewatched the hell out of Get Out and Us and Nope.
2 seasons, 10 episodes each.
Oh, nice. Okay. God, maybe I didn't even finish the first season then. I don't know if I've seen 10 episodes of this.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. Anyways, People Under the Stairs remake. Yeah. Cool. Second piece of news. Oh God, we don't have a graphic for it, but I also want to bring up another NECA.
We do have a graphic for it.
Oh yes, for this.
Oh, this. Is there another one? What's the other one?
Did you see the RoboCop figure that just dropped?
I did see the RoboCop.
Like hand getting blown off.
Yeah.
Attachment. Like, it's so cool. It's gnarly. Anyways, I'm not even like a massive RoboCop person, but like I would buy that. I'd buy that for $1. That's my bad RoboCop joke.
Yeah, we'll play.
Anyways, John Carver action figure from Thanksgiving.
Yes, NECA has dropped a kind of a surprise Thanksgiving line of figures and t-shirts and plushies and all that. So John Carver is getting a Toonie Terror. He's getting one of those the clothed figures, which are kind of like the classic looking action figure. And then he's getting an Ultimate, which are like the
super sculpted,
the best ones.
Yep.
There's one of my favorites is this decapitated turkey. I'm like, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Having not seen the movie, this just gets me super hyped for it. The fact that NECA is putting like a whole line together from this movie and this like slasher villain tells me that Casey, when we see this movie this weekend, we might be watching the birth of a new horror icon. I hope we are. I would.
Yeah, I hope so too. I wouldn't mind if Eli Roth is like, yeah, I finally got to make Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Let's make Thanksgiving too.
Yeah. Thanksgiving to no, never mind. Two thanks
all
to giving. All will be stuffed.
Yeah, that's what he can call it. You can add that one, Eli. You're welcome.
We know he listens.
He does. He's a scream demon. Eli Roth might be the OG scream demon to this show.
Yeah, sometimes we have to like email him back and be like, Eli, we love you, but the constant emails are just, it's too much, man.
Yeah.
I can't keep
up. It's like we're there. You don't have to tell us like, hey, you guys said this on the podcast. We know. We did it. We said it. We were there.
Oh man, if we ever get him on the show and he starts listening to our back catalog and he gets to this episode, I'm going to be embarrassed.
I'm not. I think it's going to be funny.
It's funny.
Because he listens to the show. He already listens.
Yes, he already listens. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's our headcanon.
Yep.
Anyone else out there listening that is not Eli Roth, please comment along with us as we go along with this episode. There might be some hot takes on this. I know last episode that we had the Stephen King tier ranking. There was 0 hot takes on that one. So we need to make sure we bring the hot takes on this one.
That was a weirdly copacetic episode for
it was, but I think there was some hot takes in there.
Yeah.
Not hot takes in terms of between you and me. Hot takes in terms of us versus we're like Scott Pilgrim. It's us versus the world.
The new series is really good. It's totally different, but
I can't sign up for Netflix even for that. I don't know.
I know. Usher got me back into it, man. Like a new Flanagan series, just it's my hook. And now they have no more. So the next time I cancel Netflix, it's just really over. But Casey,
Sam,
besides not having Netflix, what have you been doing lately?
I've been cutting all streaming, getting rid of it all.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Actually, eventually that's the plan. But yeah, we got kicked out of Netflix. I've never actually paid for Netflix, and I will continue to not pay for Netflix. But besides that, I haven't been watching a whole lot. I did get a couple things in the mail, so maybe I'll start with those. I have one already hanging up here. I picked this bad boy up in the mail. This is Castle Freak Full Moon action figure.
Hell yeah.
I've been wanting this for a while.
Hell yeah, dude.
I got a good deal on the Castle Freak. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get him. And then the other one that I got in the mail, this has literally been like months in the waiting. I think I ordered this in like June, maybe May. It finally came. I was like Sid when it finally came. It is Toxie from Toxic Crusaders.
The big one.
This is from Trick or Treat Studios.
Very nice.
Yeah, this took forever to get in, but I'm glad it finally did. It looks awesome. The packaging is incredible.
I was about to say the packaging's like maybe the best part.
I know. It's awesome. It is not what I expected the packaging to be.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy. He's the same size as I showed it off many episodes ago of the Dr. Killamoff that I got.
Yeah.
So this is like the Toxie that would go with
That's awesome,
that
dude.
same scale. So it's like the same scale as the Playmates figures from the 90s.
Yeah.
but this is Trick or Treat Studios version of it, I guess.
That's rad, dude.
Yeah, this is awesome. I still think they have them, and you'll get yours a lot faster than I got mine. People out there ordering, because mine took forever, but it finally came. Besides getting more,
and now you're gonna
toys,
strap a spaceman to it and blow it up.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, if I had an old Toxie, maybe I would. No, I wouldn't. That's insane.
You can't do that to toys. They have feelings. That's the whole point of that movie.
Well, yeah, I've never blown up a toy, so I was definitely the Andy in that situation.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. Even now, I'm more of the Al from Al's Toy Bar. Never take him out of the package.
No, I'm still Andy. I take him right out of the package and I play with them.
This Toxie is not coming out of there. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to breathe in your plastic prison forever.
Yeah, see, I'd buy something cool like that, and even though the packaging is awesome, I'd be like, and I'd tear it open and I'd play with Toxie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I'm gonna find a 90s Toxie so I can play with that Toxie. Yeah. But stuff I've been watching, I haven't been watching a whole lot recently.
Yeah.
The first one I have on my list, I don't know if I would call it a horror movie. I'm going to talk about it. It's close enough. It's more of it's a dark comedy.
I think this counts as a horror. I haven't seen it, but what I've heard about this, I think it counts.
Okay, so the movie is The Cable Guy, directed by Ben Stiller, starring Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick.
The poster scared the shit out of me as a kid. It's a horror movie.
It's one of those movies that, so my growing up, I watched way too early, probably when I was starting 6, 7 years old, would watch Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Mike Myers movies all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this, again, like I said, 7 years old watching, they're all PG-13, so it's not like I was watching rated R movies, but still, for a 7-year-old, probably shouldn't be watching like The Cable Guy or The Mask or Billy Madison or whatever. Anyway, this is one I would always watch as a kid just because it was Jim Carrey. And even as a kid, I was like, man, there's something different about this one. Where I'm like, it's still funny and he's still goofy, but it's like there's a certain edge to this one. I didn't watch it as much as I watched like The Mask or Ace Ventura or Dumb and Dumber, but I was definitely on rotation in my house. So I usually watch this one once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And every time I watch it, it just grows on me more and more. There's just this dark comedic edge that this movie has. And I find it so interesting because it's like, this is 90, I believe 95 or 96. So it's like right on, it's at the peak of Jim Carrey's popularity.
Yep.
And he does this dark turn where he's the bad guy in this movie. You don't want to root for him. I think this movie does so many great things in terms of the casting, not just Jim Carrey, because it plays to type of Jim Carrey being the weirdo, and he has a lisp the entire time, but he also can play the Jim Carrey manic energy as the Cable Guy. But then you cast Matthew Broderick, who, I mean, Matthew Broderick, you kind of know what you're going to get every time you see Matthew Broderick in a movie.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much the straight-laced, straightforward guy.
Yep.
Doesn't stray too far away from that. And this movie just plays right into that.
Yep.
Where you have Jim Carrey going to 11 and you have Broderick staying at a nice 3 the entire movie. I love this movie. Jim Carrey is super funny. This was Kayla's first time watching it. She didn't love it. She liked it. She didn't love it. There's just so many great moments in this. I lost my mind at you haven't watched this yet, but there's a scene you might have seen where it's Jim Carrey visits Broderick in prison and he like pushes his boob up against the glass. And he's like, oh, Billy.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just, I love this movie. It's dark. It's twisted. I love that. So Ben Stiller directs this movie, and he also plays dual roles of a child star who twin child stars, and one of them grows up and murders the other one.
Oh, jeez.
And their trial is like the live TV trial of the decade or whatever.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's just like little bits of that throughout the movie. It's not like the main plot or anything like that. But I'm like, I love that type of stuff, especially in this movie.
Yeah.
Especially from Ben Stiller, where I'm like, I like Ben Stiller. I like when he's a leading man, where he's like the everyman Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
But peak Ben Stiller is villain Ben Stiller.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and he at least gets to tap into that a little bit in his part in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should watch The Cable Guy. I would be curious to hear your thoughts on this movie.
I feel like I'd like this one. I'm a sucker for like dark comedy. And part of what I like about Jim Carrey comedy is when there's humanity underneath it a little bit. Like, I don't like when he goes super, like, I don't know, Dumb and Dumber doesn't really work for me in that, but like when he's playing a human underneath the manicness, that's when I attach to him a little bit more.
And this one has that.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. I love the cast. Like, the cast is stacked. Ben Stiller really hasn't directed anything for me that I haven't at least liked. So, yeah. Unless, did he do Zoolander too? He didn't direct that, did he?
I think so.
Okay, he did one movie that I hate then, but I won't hold it against him.
Zoolander 2 is so bad.
Yeah, I do not like that movie, but
he did direct that movie. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everybody's allowed one, right?
Yeah, he got some money off that one. Good for him, I guess.
Good for him. You know the weirdest thing about that movie? I think the funniest part is the Justin Bieber cameo. After that, it goes downhill.
And that's like the start of the movie.
It's literally the cold open.
Yeah.
All right.
My other stuff I've been watching. Here's my the full moon kick coming in right here. I'm gonna start off with one I didn't like, and I'll talk about it very briefly because I was only half paying attention. Finally, I'm trying to get through the Puppet Master movies.
Yes.
And I'm one movie left after this. And boy, oh boy, this is taking a lot out of me to finally get through these. These last three movies that I've talked about them in sporadic episodes of the podcast. This is Puppet Master Axis Termination, which is the final film in the Axis trilogy, which is their late 2010s like Nazi trilogy where the puppets fight Nazis. This one is the worst of those three.
Okay.
The other two are kind of connecting stories where you have the same human leads through both. This one just kills them off in the first scene of the movie.
Oh.
And then it's just
resurrections them.
Yeah, and then it's just nothing for an hour and 10 minutes, and then there's 5 minutes of puppet action at the end. And unfortunately, the puppet action's like everything else you've seen. So it's not anything that cool. I don't know.
That's too bad.
These last ones are a bit of a slog to get through. It's a point of pride where I'm like, I need to watch every Puppet Master movie. But these last three are they're tough.
I don't know if I have the fortitude to make it through if I start derailing. But I do, ever since I nabbed the DVDs off you when you got the Blu-ray set, I've wanted to at least binge as far as I could go into them. Eventually, I'll probably watch them all,
I don't know if these are in that box set I gave you, so you might be able to get through the ones that are in your DVD set.
I was about to say the DVD set's missing the last couple, but yeah.
All the other ones I would definitely recommend. Like that, it's just the last three that I don't know.
Yeah.
They're boring. And that's the first thing a movie should not be. Anyway, a different full moon movie that is not boring, but not.
I want to watch this one.
You'll love this one. This might be the weirdest full moon movie I've seen, and that's saying a lot. We did a whole episode about a talking sentient head who has super powered siblings
that he controls telepathically.
Yeah. But this one is Shrunken Heads from 1994. It is directed by Richard Elfman, who is the brother of Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman does the opening theme to this movie. The movie is shot on the Universal backlot. It is about 3 teenage boys, played by teenage actors who are probably 15 years old, who get murdered by a 1950s greaser gang that is that is led by Meg Foster, who I think is playing a dude.
That's kind of rad. Like she's doing reverse drag essentially.
Yeah, her character's name is Big Mo. It's very ambiguous of her sexual orientation in this movie, and I kind of like that. It makes it more interesting than just a regular mob boss. And the reason I question it, she does dress in like manly clothes. She has a bit of a deeper voice in this, but not like too much. But she also has like this blonde bimbo as her gal.
Huh. Interesting.
It's interesting. I props to this movie for at least playing it. I don't know, not normal. Like I guess not what you would see in a traditional movie, especially in 1994. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
well, like
I like
Meg Foster. Hell yeah. Just every time she pops up and stuff, you're like, yeah. You know, so the movie's gonna be like that much better because Meg Foster's in it.
And she's hamming it up in this. I love it.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of just the tip of the iceberg of this movie. Like I said, it's teenage boys in this movie, played by actual teenage boys that get killed by this 1950s mobster gang. Then once they get killed, their local, I guess Haitian shaman brings them back to his house, decapitates them, and boils their head and turns them into shrunken heads. And not only that, they get turned into shrunken heads that can fly and have superpowers. The superpowers that they get are varying in quality. One of them gets to like shoot lightning out of his forehead.
Okay.
One of them gets to turn into like a vampire thing and can turn other people into like zombies through his bite. Okay. And then one kid gets a switchblade.
But he's a shrunken head.
Yeah, he like just carries it in his mouth, and that's his superpower.
Oh.
that one's kind of lame. Yeah, this is a weird movie. The boys go enact revenge halfway through the movie and start taking out the 1950s greaser gang. There's a teenage girl that's like the love interest to one of the boys, and again, she's a teenager, and it's somehow like, okay, this movie is so weird because it plays everything so straight, but again, it's like dealing with actual teenagers in this situation.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a weird movie. It's kind of a full moon movie that doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of Full Moon because Full Moon had another side company called Moonbeam, which was like their kids entertainment, and they would put like kids movies under that umbrella. But this one was Full Moon, and this like falls right in between the two, and it's like I don't know who this movie was for, but I'm kind of here for it. I definitely recommend Shrunken Heads. It's a weird movie. You're not going to see anything else like it. It is on the Universal backlot for no reason, and you can tell it's the Universal backlot. They don't try to hide it. It's quite incredible. Yeah, Shrunken Heads, two thumbs up.
Cool. I'm definitely gonna put that one on the watch list.
And the only other things I've been watching are Hallmark Christmas movies. So we watched one with Fonzie, and it was actually pretty good.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah. I mean, Henry Winkler, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I think I saw your Letterboxd review of that one.
It was actually good. It was good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you and Maria want to watch, like, hey, let's just put on a Hallmark Christmas movie, I would recommend that one. I don't remember what it was called, but the one with Fonzie.
I'll just go back to your Letterboxd. I can find it.
You'll find it.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. What about you? What have you been doing?
Well, we went to the comic shop.
Yeah.
And I bought too many comics, but I wanted to single out the Hellboy Crooked Man mini series that I was able to pick up. I actually found out after buying this that this is the comic arc, this like little 3-issue arc.
That's the new movie.
Yeah, it's the new movie.
Oh, I thought that's why you bought it.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Had no idea. Did not like. I bought it because I saw it and the cover art looked good, and like the artwork in these books is incredible. Like, holy shit, I can't wait to watch the movie now. Mignola's actually like he's writing it, so I don't know. This new Hellboy, I'm here for it. I like all the Hellboy movies. I'm still pissed we never got a Hellboy 3 from GDT, but you know, we'll survive. Anyways, I've been watching Hellboy a lot.
Did you read those?
Yeah, it's great. Okay.
Oh,
it's great. It's great. I can't wait. It's very creepy. It deals with like a small town with a witch in the woods who's like essentially like getting people to perform wicked deeds for her, and join the coven, and like essentially she's collecting souls for the crooked man, and the crooked man is just this like leering like old English man, and I don't know, just the way it's drawn is so creepy and effective, and like literal chills up my spine on certain page turns. It was pretty great. So
is it only the three
issue
arc?
Just the 3 issues.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. It's pretty rad. Yeah, can't wait to see what they do with it. I could see this story being able to be expanded pretty well, I think. Like, I think if they stick with like the woodland, eerie, witchy vibes, like this movie's gonna be a freaking barn burner. I'm stoked. So yeah. So been reading Hellboy. I've had the Hellboy movies on, both the 2019 reboot and the Guillermo del Toro ones. I've just had those on in the background a lot while I've been doing art and drawing and projects and dishes and stuff. So I won't really talk about them in depth, but yeah, they've just kind of been on in a loop. What I have watched, I watched the new Shudder original Birth Rebirth, which is like a modern take on the Frankenstein mythos. Judy Reyes from Scrubs, which I've also been re-binging lately.
Hey, one of the Hallmark movies we watched had Donald Faison in it.
Nice. So, yeah, so Judy Reyes is she's like
sorry.
No, you're good. She's a single mom who is raising a young daughter she's a nurse. She's overworked. She's constantly doing like all these shifts. And one day her daughter's ill. She takes her to a friend because she can't go to school. She takes her to a friend to watch her. Things escalate, but she is at work. She is not checking her phone. And she finds out that her daughter died. Like the illness just rapidly transgressed. Her daughter died. So, you know, really like uplifting beginning to this movie. And it just gets bleaker from there. So you're also introduced to this like very cold, pragmatic scientist who is essentially like going to these dive bars, and she is offering men very clinical hand jobs in bathroom stalls so that she can collect their spunk and do experiments with it. I'm trying to get around the Facebook algorithm. I don't know.
I don't know.
So anyways, this is really it's just like really like it's very transgressive, like holy shit, are they doing this in a movie kind of thing. And so Judy Reyes goes to collect her daughter's body and finds that her daughter's body is missing. And she instantly suspects this doctor, and goes to her house and finds out that this doctor has taken her daughter's body and has reanimated her back to life. She's still bedridden. She's not talking, but she has vitals, like her organs are going. And essentially she's like, well, if you want this to happen, since she's a nurse, she's like, well, this needs to happen and this needs to happen. And these two women go to work reanimating the dead daughter of Judy Reyes. The middle of this movie is a little bit dry. Like it just needs a little something else. But the two lead performances are incredible. And the third act is like, it's dark and it's haunting. Like, I'm so glad they went where they did, but like, holy crap, is it a gut punch? Like, sick to your stomach, kind of like, oh my God, they did that. Yeah, recommend it. It's a really transgressive, weird, like kind of dangerous feeling little movie. One of the better Shudder originals I've seen this year. Really liked it. Okay. Really liked it. Like I said, dry in the middle. Definitely not going to be for everybody because it is dark. Like it's, and definitely more of like, go into it expecting more of a horror drama than like a horror movie, you know? But yeah, Birth Rebirth kind of ruled. Two excellent performances from the leading ladies in that one. So yeah, I also watched Hatchet for the first, Adam Green's Hatchet for the first time since probably like 07 or 08, somewhere in there. And genuinely kind of did not ever realize how funny this movie is. Holy crap. It's hilarious. It's really gory. I remember not particularly liking it because it scared me and like really grossed me out as a kid. It really worked for me as the fully fledged horror fan that I am now. And I also followed that up with 2, which I know you said 2 is your favorite. I didn't like 2 as much as 1. I didn't like 2 quite as much as 1. I do like 2 a lot. I just don't think it's, weirdly enough, I think 1 is more tonally consistent than 2 is. I like everything that 2 is doing, but like the Tony Todd backstory narration kind of feels like a different movie than the rest of Hatchet 2 to me.
Yeah, Hatchet 2 is pretty goofy.
Yeah, like Hatchet 2 is goofy, but that backstory is genuinely like dark and kind of traumatic, and it's a little campy and over the top too. Like, but it's also like Jesus. I also watched it in the same week that I watched.
It's how Victor Crowley becomes like Victor Crowley, right? Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
With Kane playing the dad.
Yep, and there's the birth. There's the birth of Victor. And he's so frightening that his mother keels over dead at first sight of him.
It's funny.
It is, but like, okay, keep in mind, I watched this the same week that I watched Birth Rebirth, and I think I watched Hatchet 2 after Birth Rebirth. And let's just say there's some similarities to some of what's going on there. So like, it was like, I don't know. I was just like, holy shit, that's like so dark. Like, I can't believe they did that. But
AJ Bowen gets decapitated while behind a girl in Birth Rebirth too.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird double thing that they both have. Like, I was like, this is definitely influenced by Hatchet 2.
They just took the same scene from Hatchet 2.
Yeah, they literally just copy pasted it in the middle of the movie. I'm like, whoa, when did this happen? Yeah. Pivotal moment in Act 2. Anyways, yeah, so Hatchet 2. I didn't think it was quite as good as the first one, but I still really liked it. Very excited to watch 3 and Victor Crowley. So, and then I saved what I'm considering the best for last. I watched the new Joe Lynch flick, Suitable Flesh, and holy crap, Casey, Stuart Gordon would be so proud. Would be so proud of this movie. It is weird. It is transgressive. It's very Lovecraft. And not in like there are tentacles and like creatures and stuff bursting through. Like, there's nothing like that in this.
In a Stuart Gordon Lovecraft way?
Yeah. It's just, it feels a little sexy, a little dangerous. When the gore hits, it hits. There's a scene involving a backup camera that they kind of tease in Colors of the Dark when they interviewed Joe Lynch. He actually said that was not a comp shot. Like there's no composite in the scene with the backup camera. So when you watch this movie, Casey, know that everything they did was in camera for that scene. And I am so in awe of it. I tweeted Joe Lynch after I watched this movie for the first time, and I asked him if there would be a commentary track on the Blu-ray. He confirmed there would be, and potentially another bonus one somewhere along the lines. I will be listening to both of those. Suitable Flesh might be my favorite horror movie of the year so far. Full disclosure, I've already watched it twice. I really loved it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, like I expected to like it. I don't know if I expected to love it as much as I do. And on a rewatch, I loved it just as much. I was like, maybe I was just like, right movie, right time. I was super hyped for it. But no, on a rewatch, I'm like, no, this movie still rules. Like, I think it's funny. It is sexy. Like, and at times it's like very unnerving. Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton both just kill it in this movie. Judah Lewis from the Babysitter movies got hot and is like, he just oozes cool in this movie. I don't know. He's insane. He's intimidating. Like, and then you've got Jonathan Schaech from That Thing You Do, and he's also the killer in the Prom Night remake. I'm a Jonathan Schaech fan. I'm a Schaech stan. I like him.
You're a Schaech Knight?
I'm a Schaech Knight. No, I'm not going to go off on that tangent. I've had Twitter interactions with him. He's cool. Anyways. Yeah, Jonathan Schaech is playing like the doting husband to Heather Graham, and it's like it's the role that like everything's gender reversed in this movie, and not in like a surface level way. Like the dynamics of everything are totally different. But what's great is like they've got Jonathan Schaech playing the role that like the woman usually plays, which is just like doting spouse who's at home in between jobs, cooking breakfast, doing all these things. Like, and he just nails it. Like I don't know. This whole cast is perfect. There's one orderly with a mustache who's like, he's kind of the worst part of the movie. Sorry, Joe. Just kidding. Anyways. I loved Suitable Flesh. Play him? Yeah. Joe's one of the orderlies. He's got a glorious mustache too. It's a wonderful mustache.
He shows up in Victor Crowley, and I'm pretty sure he's wearing he has a mustache in that too.
Yeah, that guy.
He might only just have mustaches, and
so he did talk a little bit. I can't remember what podcast, but he was talking about how on the last day of a shoot he shaves everything except for his mustache. So I wonder if it was the last day of shooting and he just needed. Yeah, I think it was that. It was like the last day of shooting. The local actor that they hired to play the orderly was not the proper height, and you'll understand why. With certain shots, he needed to be a certain height. So Joe said, like, he stepped in and he like put the extra as a doctor in the scene. So that the guy was still in the movie, but he was like, yeah, I've got to shuffle some things around. So yeah, it was last day of shoot. Joe had to step in last minute, and he just had his last day of shoot porn stash on. Yeah, so
got it. Great. I love Joe Lynch.
Yeah. And this movie, yeah, like I understand people not necessarily being on this movie's wavelength. It does look like a Skinamax made for TV movie. Especially in certain scenes, but that's by design. Like it's really weird and it's bold and it's one of the most interesting horror movies I've seen all year. And for that alone, I love it. I love it. I highly recommend Suitable Flesh. I think it's going to be on Shudder in like January or something. I couldn't wait, and I'm glad I didn't, because like, yeah, it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bite the bullet before the end of the year, just because I know, like you said, it's going to be on your maybe number one.
It might be my number one
of 2023. So I'm excited to watch it. I am. It's just, I was kind of hoping it was going to end up on Shudder sooner, but that's okay. I will spend the whatever, $6 to rent and $20 to buy, whatever it is to watch, to finally watch this movie.
Easily worth it. And you know what? I know that this happens a lot where like I just have weird movie taste and I watch a movie and I'm like texting you guys all the time, like, oh my God, you got to watch this. It's so good. And then you all watch it and it's like 3 stars across the board. And I really hope this isn't that.
That it's not Suitable Flesh.
I hope that Suitable Flesh is one that I recommend and everyone's like, yeah, that ruled. Like,
yeah, I'm sure I'm going to like it. I love Joe Lynch. I love Barbara. I love, I love Stuart Gordon. So I think this is right up my alley.
Fun. It's so fun. Hey, we have a guest popping in, or a listener popping in, a friend of the show, Mr. Ryan Brewer. Hey, Ryan.
What's up, Ryan? Stick around because we're going to jump into our main topic, main event. Topic. The reason we're here today on this episode, we're talking Grindhouse 2007. Sam, 2007's Grindhouse, Planet Terror, Death Proof. We're just going to go through the entire Grindhouse experience from beginning to end. We'll talk about the trailers. We'll talk about each movie. We'll talk about more of the trailers. So let's kick things off with, what was the first time you watched Grindhouse, Sam?
The first time I watched the full Grindhouse experience was this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that I had seen Planet Terror before. Like, I just always thought that I'd seen both Planet Terror and Death Proof just separately. And I'd watched like the fake trailers on YouTube because I'd heard about the whole experience and I sought them out. But I was about 10 minutes into Planet Terror and I was like, I've never seen this movie. Oh. I've never seen this movie. I had I think I'd gotten it mixed up with Sin City, which same director, similar casting sometimes. So like, I get it. But like, I really liked Planet Terror a lot. I didn't realize it was a zombie movie. But that said, Death Proof, I have watched multiple times. It was actually one of my first Tarantino movies. Watched it because of my grandpa. He loved Tarantino.
How did that happen? Yeah.
Did you see that?
What happened? We got a big old like on Sam's face. I don't know what happened. It's not doing it for me.
I don't know what's going on. The things we experience live. Yeah. Oh, if you're listening to this podcast, go to the YouTube.
I gave 2 thumbs up earlier and it didn't give me any. Yeah, what the heck? Hit that like while you're at it there, people.
Yeah, hit the like button. So Death Proof is one that I remember watching because my grandpa gave it to me at like way too young of an age to watch a movie called Death Proof. But I loved it. Then I've always been a Kurt Russell fan, even before I really knew who Kurt Russell was. Like back when he was just kind of like the dad from Sky High. Every time I saw something with Kurt Russell, I'm like, it's Kurt Russell. So I don't know. I've always liked Death Proof. I've always thought the trailers were really funny. But watching it all together, like as the first experience that I've had with the whole thing, just kind of loved it. So what about you? Was this your first time watching it?
No. So my first experience with anything from Grindhouse was when I was getting into Eli Roth movies.
The Thanksgiving
I made sure to look up the Thanksgiving trailer and watched it on YouTube. And so that was my first thing I ever watched from this movie was the Thanksgiving trailer. It still is probably the thing I've watched the most from Grindhouse is that trailer. But the first time I watched Grindhouse, I did the whole Grindhouse experience. This was not that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, relatively recently, I watched both of these, and I did the whole Grindhouse beginning to end with the trailers and everything. And so this is my second time watching both of them all the way through, beginning to end, doing the whole Grindhouse experience with them. Which I think is, I don't know, that'd be my preferred way to watch this if I was going to recommend it to people.
Doing the whole experience?
Doing the whole experience, getting both movies, having the trailers in between, the commercials, the featured presentation, the entire experience. I mean, it is an experience watching this movie.
Yeah. It's so singular. There's nothing else like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's using modern film techniques to
set in modern day.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this other than like, it's just a very singular experience. The way that it just all plays out, I watched it in bed and I felt like I was in the drive-in. You know, like I felt like I should be cracking a beer open next to Joe Bob.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool. I would honestly love to see Joe Bob tackle both of these movies.
I don't know if they ever would or could, but
I don't know either.
I would love to see Joe Bob's take on Grindhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull up Ryan's comment because I feel like we're both going to read this one right here. Ryan, I'm pulling up your comment here. Ryan said he watched the double feature in the theater in Rapid City. It was just me and his buddy ruling the theater. We showed up and the world was fine. We left and it was a snowstorm all over.
Oh God!
All the way back to Deadwood. Yeah, that sounds like South Dakota.
Yeah.
At least you and your buddy had fun at the movie. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Rogue One for me. Rogue One. It was crystal clear when I went into the theater. I came out and there was 2 inches of snow everywhere. I was like, crap.
That's when we watched The Thing. It literally had a giant snowstorm when we watched The Thing. That's
right. Oh God, it was so cold that night too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's still my favorite late night at the State. That experience was so cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about this experience, Grindhouse.
Yes.
the first thing we see in Grindhouse is the first thing worth talking about on a podcast is the Machete trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, I've never seen Machete. I should rectify that. Maybe we should
do
Machete. No, maybe we should do Machete.
Wait, but you've seen Spy Kids, right?
Of course.
Okay, so you saw the impetus for that character.
Yeah, Uncle Machete. Yeah, obviously.
Apparently it's a different character. Like
I've heard like Robert Rodriguez say he's a different person. I'm like, what? His name's Machete. Like, why would you name 2 different characters played by Danny Trejo Machete?
Yeah, like, No,
it's the same character.
It's the same character. I feel like he's waffled on that because I feel like I've heard him say the exact opposite too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's the same character. It's Uncle Machete.
It's the same character.
Just as an adult. Alexa Vega gets to play different characters in the sequel.
Yep. I swear, Robert Rodriguez might be the first director I ever loved without realizing that I loved a specific director. Yeah. Like, because the whole vibe of that movie was tremendous. I'm like, why are more movies not this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Spy Kids 1 and 2 especially.
3 is take or leave. But 1 and 2 are, in my opinion, like perfect family movies. Like,
the little thumb. What are the thumb?
The thumb bots or whatever.
Thumb bots. Yeah, those used to freak me out.
Yeah, they're creepy. And the video game when all the thumb bots are coming at you, like I was like,
they're creepy.
Yeah, they were. They're so freaky.
Yeah,
Ryan,
anyway,
definitely watch Spy Kids. Yes,
go watch them. At least the first 2. Watch them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and Casey, we will do a Machete episode very soon because
it's Machete and Machete. Is it Machete Kills?
Machete Kills. And then there was going to be a Machete in Space, but I don't think that's happening now. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Probably with the Weinstein stuff.
I'm guessing that's what it was.
We can touch on some of that later.
Yeah, just
not like the real. Well, a little bit of the real life stuff as it pertains to Grindhouse, but
yeah,
because this movie is kind of like a big part of that story, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, the Machete trailer rules. I need to check it out. If it's anything like that, I'm very excited.
It's very much just like a violent action flick.
Yeah. Danny Trejo rules. He's incredible. He's the man. Danny Trejo also loves Bluey, I guess. So he's aces in my book. The Machete trailer rules. Planet Terror. So this is your first time watching Planet Terror. Robert Rodriguez, stacked cast.
Yeah,
I like forget how many great people are in this movie.
Every face, every new face you're introduced to, it's like, holy shit, he pulled that for this like disgusting B movie.
Yeah. So this is my favorite one of the two. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite, maybe one of my favorite Robert Rodriguez movies, period. I love this movie. Watching it this time, spoilers on when we get to Death Proof, I like that a lot more this time.
Did you?
I did the first time I watched it, yes. But I still like Planet Terror more. It kind of gives me more of what I want in terms of a Grindhouse type of movie, you know?
I think it's so funny that you say that because I feel that Death Proof. I feel like Death Proof is the drive-in Grindhouse action flick that I want to see more so than Planet Terror, which is like goopy, gross zombies. I guess like I don't know. It's weird for me. We'll get into it, but yeah, like Death Proof to me is the more grindhousey of these two. Even if it's less gory.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Talk about it. I think there's more. We're gonna have different opinions on Death Proof, even though we both liked it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But Planet Terror is it's sort of a zombie movie. It's more of just like a mutated.
Yeah, it feels trauma-like almost. Yeah. You've got Rose McGowan as the go-go dancer who loses her leg. I don't know what's going on.
Can you make a heart? Will that work? Is the heart? No. We're just gonna mess with this thing. We'll figure it
out. So yeah, sorry.
The Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan is Cherry. Yes. Cherry Darlin. Yep. You've got her ex-lover. I forget his name. You've got Josh Brolin as a psychotic doctor, and Marley Shelton as his very weird erotic anesthesiologist.
And his wife.
And his wife, yes.
Who's having an affair with Fergie.
Yeah. Who's having God, there's just there's so much in this movie. You've got the affair with Fergie. You've got Bruce Willis, who's leading a rogue team of commandos.
Yeah.
And they've got their like oxygen masks on. And then you've got the like black market dealer. Abby.
Who collects testicles in a jar.
Who collects testicles in a jar. It's like, oh, I don't know. This movie's insane. I love it. Ray, yes. Ray was her ex. There we go. Thank you, Ryan.
You have some other like great character actors in here. You got Michael Biehn, who's like the sheriff of the town, who like he's not gonna let Ray do anything in his town. He's the rebel. He's the it reminded me of the Blob remake.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Quite a bit with that.
Very similar.
Like, this feels very much like, I don't know, more 80s probably than 70s.
I think that's what I feel like. Like, yeah, this feels 80s, and I feel like Tarantino's is a little more 70s to me.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Fahey plays the guy who owns like the local tavern that everybody kind of congregates around. I love this movie. It's such a weird movie. It's such a goopy, gory, gross movie that immediately when it starts, it's about like the military is like creating like this bioweapon from this scientist. The scientist is Abby is the name of the scientist that collects testicles in a jar, and they end up like stealing the bioweapon from him, and he ends up like falling all over the testicles that fall out of the jar.
Yeah. Like one of them even goes into his mouth.
Yeah.
Like it's
gross.
It's super like, haha, isn't it funny that it, like yeah, and it is. I laughed.
Yeah. And then it's like this small town movie. There's so many different movies that this reminds me of. It kind of reminds me a bit of like it has a Crazies vibe to it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. A little bit of Crazies.
A little bit of trauma in there, especially with like the military stuff.
Yep. Yep.
You got some of the Blob in here as well.
With the Yep. And you've got, well, Sin City came late. No, Sin City was before this, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like
Sin
there's
City's
a little
like 05, I think.
Yeah. So like different subgenre, but like I feel like Rodriguez is taking what he did with Sin City and just applying it into a different subgenre, essentially, because that's also like very much an ensemble piece where you've got all these eclectic characters. And I don't know. I think it's fascinating, especially considering I confused the two for so many years of my life.
I don't know how you confuse the two. They look.
I don't either.
I don't know.
They
Sin
don't.
City is very much its own thing. Yeah,
it is. It's 100% its own thing, and I've never seen it. It turns out, at least I don't think so.
So you've never seen? Oh, you've never seen?
Or wait, no, I've seen Sin City. That's
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm confusing myself now.
Yeah.
We started the podcast an hour later than we normally do, and I'm tired.
We're talking about Planet Terror, Sam.
We're talking about Planet Terror, not Sin City. Planet Terror. Okay, so one thing that I really liked about this movie, by the end of the movie, it's an ensemble movie, but your main character is kind of just revealed to be Rose McGowan. Like this is ultimately her story. The final shot is of her. Like like I don't know. I wasn't expecting this one to be so female driven, and I was pleasantly surprised with that. Because to me, the two biggest, most like proactive characters of this movie are Cherry Darlin and I forget Marley Shelton's character's name, but the anesthesiologist. Like to me, those are like the two badasses in this movie. And the men are kind of bumbling idiots most of the time.
Yeah. And okay, I'm going to ask you this question. It's a little bit, we're seeping into the death proof area.
Okay.
Which movie do you think handles its female characters better?
I'm going to say
or do you think it's pretty even?
In some senses, it's a little even, but I'm going to give the edge to Planet Terror.
Okay, I do. I think it's kind of running away with Planet Terror.
Yeah. One thing that I forgot about Death Proof, because I hadn't watched it in quite a few years. I forgot that Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character just kind of gets left alone with a creeper, and that's the last time you see her.
She has nothing to do.
Yeah, I was like, that's like a really weird, dumb thing that just seems in the movie.
Let's talk about Death Proof. I have so many things to talk about.
I know, we do.
There's the two movies take place in the same universe. Planet Terror and Death Proof do.
Yep.
The doctor that Mary, what's it, Shelton?
Marley Shelton, yeah.
Marley. She shows up in Death Proof. Michael Parks, who plays Earl McGraw in like every Tarantino thing, he's in both of these movies. A little more prevalent, I guess, in this one than in Death Proof. Maybe about the same amount of screen time between the two. I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank on Michael Parks's face.
Old man who plays like the the cop. He's the dad of. He's Marley.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Marley Shelton's dad.
Her dad.
Her dad. Earl McGraw. He's in Kill Bill.
That's right.
Kill Bill. Other Tarantino fanboys are probably yelling at us right now for not knowing every time he's shown up in a Tarantino movie. Yeah, Josh Brolin in this movie so sleazy and
he's
perfectly sleazy in this movie.
Yeah,
he almost becomes like the main villain towards the end of the movie too.
Mm-hmm. He's the kind of like big bad that Marley Shelton has to take out. Like the scene where he finds out that she's having an affair and starts paralyzing her with her own agents is like, it's genuinely unnerving, like terrifying shit. And then
she spends like the next like half of the movie with like limp hands,
limp wrists. Yeah. The whole scene of her trying to get to the car while the paralyzing agents are wearing off, but she still doesn't have like fine motor skills. She is just she's just, her comedic timing is incredible, and her physical comedy in this is awesome. Like,
but when she like slips her hand between the door to open it, and she like slips and falls and like breaks her wrist, it's like,
oh god,
disgusting.
It's really hard, yeah.
then the scene where like she shows up at her is it when she's at her dad's house? But anyway, she gives her son the gun. She's like, don't blow.
Yeah.
Like, don't point it at yourself. You're gonna blow your face off. And he literally just pulls the trigger and blows his face off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That part's a little weird. It's
a little weird. And then she like takes the body with her and stuff. And I'm like, that's the one thing I really don't like about this movie is that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really go anywhere.
No.
There's no build up to it. And it just kind of, I don't know.
It's like, honestly, it's a blink and you miss it scene. And it just feels like unnecessarily mean-spirited for like what this movie's supposed to be.
Blames Josh Brolin too.
Yeah, it's really weird.
You made him do this. I'm like, no, you gave him the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really weird scene. I don't know if it's necessary for the movie.
Yeah. It's a little out of place. That said, I do love like that whole confrontation at the house. Anytime like Josh Brolin and Marley Shelton are sharing screen time, like it's very intense and riveting. Like it's just, I don't know. They have really good screen chemistry together for being two people who essentially want to kill each other. Yeah. Like there's just something very compelling about the energy that they're sharing on screen for this.
Ryan's chiming in here with that kid scene. I feel that that scene with the kid is all about compounding her really bad day. Yeah. I hope pun is intended with this one, like the cherry on top of all the shit she had to deal with that day. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. What makes a bad day worse?
Your kid blowing his face off.
With the gun you gave him.
Yeah.
God. Robert Rodriguez, you twisted son of a bitch.
Yeah. I also love, so like this does, Death Proof does a little bit. This one doesn't more, where it has the super like grainy footage and it's like
the missing reel.
Has a missing reel. I think this one does it because Grindhouse has, or Death Proof has a missing reel.
Yeah. Right? Both times, yes. And both times are like right when a sexy scene is going to happen or has just started. Like both times it's like them. And so I wonder like if it's a joke where like those reels would get like people would sell those ones. They would get lost, you know, like I have a feeling that that's where that came from a little bit, and I don't know.
I like Planet
kind
Terrors.
Of hilarious, B, kind of icky.
Yeah, I like Planet Terrors more because that one like starts with like the sex scene between Ray and Cherry, and it immediately goes to like things are blowing up at the bar that they're at, and things are going crazy, and people that were there are dead. And
Tarantino's is a little bit too clean cut. Like you can see where like
you
don't lose any of the story, and part of the fun about the Planet Terror one is like all of a sudden you're just back in the movie. You're like, how did they all get to this location?
Minutes, you're 15 minutes ahead, and it's like, oh, Marley Shelton's here with her kid, and things are going crazy, and the zombies have shown up.
Yeah, it's nuts. I kind of love it.
I love that one. Yeah,
it's a great way to just be like, and also it just saves so much time and effort into like, how do they get here? Well, I don't know. Let's just do this gag where we're missing a reel and then go into the third act.
Where it was. Yeah. I love that the third act takes place on the military base. Like that again feels just perfect for like the vibe that they're going for, because all these movies would end like on the military base.
Yeah.
And this one just goes insane with the concept of of these not zombies. What is the term I'm trying to think of?
I don't know. They're
infected, just infected. The infected.
They're toxic crusaders, but bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like there's a part where they're in the helicopter and they just start like chopping through all the zombies in them. Like that's so
also
over the top and incredible.
Yeah. And one thing I remember, because I had a DVD with trailers for both Planet Terror and Death Proof. Before I'd ever seen either of these movies, I'd watched those trailers on this DVD. I can't remember what it was, but like the image of Rose McGowan vaulting over a wire fence, shooting like from a subatomic gun where her leg's supposed to be, landing, doing the spin, all that kind of stuff. Doing what?
Doing like the superhero landing and then shooting her gun. Like,
it's just like that image has always stuck with me. Like I was always like, holy crap, you know? And in the context of the movie, it's so cool. Like it's such a great third act moment. Like like I didn't realize, I kind of expected her to have a machine gun leg almost from the start of this movie. Like when she had two legs at the beginning, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. And then they just gave her like a normal peg leg, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But it was worth the wait, because when they finally do, when he's like, I got something for you, and he just attaches a gun to like a little metal nub that was not there before. Like he just shoved a wooden stick in there. So at some point he must have upgraded her in the missing reel. But like, holy crap, that scene's just awesome. It's like the fist pumping moment that I wasn't expecting this movie to have, because you don't typically get like the movies,
go get him moment.
Like movies like this don't typically have that, and this one did, and I thought it just nailed it so perfectly. Rose McGowan's kind of just the MVP of this whole experience, I feel like. She's really good in her, I mean, she's not in all of Death Proof, but she's really good in Death Proof too. I don't know.
She is. We'll get to that one.
Yeah.
Before we talk about that one, I just my last kind of final thoughts are about her in this movie, because I think she's just incredible in this movie. Her comedic timing is great. I love that her character, like, she wanted to be a doctor at some point. Then she became a go-go dancer. And now she wants to be a stand-up comedian. Such a weird character, career choice between those three. But again, it's like, I don't know. I feel like in the real world, in the world of Planet Terror, she goes on and is like a one-legged stand-up comedian, and with a
baby,
with a baby and assault rifle for a leg.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the next logical progression for this character. And I love the build up to her getting the gun leg, because like that's the iconic image of Grindhouse. The entire experience is that, and it has an incredible build up. Gross, goopy effects of her losing her leg even the peg leg is cool because she like gets to stab. In my least favorite scene of this movie, even more so than the kid, is Tarantino scene in this movie.
Yeah, he's over the, like it's gross.
It's gross,
and it just like
for gross sake.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel. I hate saying necessary because like things don't have to be necessary. Like it's art. I get that. I just I don't know. That part like personally just puts me off a little bit.
And
I think it's the energy he's bringing to it. It just feels
especially
aggressive.
as one of the creatives of the movie.
Yeah.
And knowing the behind the scenes stuff with the Weinsteins and the actress in the scene, it's like, why is this in this movie? Why are we doing this? It doesn't.
It's icky.
It's icky, and it doesn't play right. It doesn't play how I think Tarantino and Rodriguez wanted it to play, because I think they wanted it to play as like, here's her big like heroic moment where she gets to take out a sexual predator, and it's like, she's already a badass and a great character. We don't need any of that.
We don't need to degrade her. Yeah, we don't need to degrade her because we already like
move past
it
gross
sucks.
Scene.
It
gross
sucks.
Scene.
It's not a good scene. But
made even worse
it's a
by
blemish.
Tarantino.
Yeah, because I mean, not only is he bringing like just not good energy into that scene, like he can't act very well either.
No,
as we all know.
Yeah.
Like the only reason he gets cast in movies is because he's friends with the director, or he is the director.
Yeah. Or Adam Sandler just wants him to show up.
Yeah. It always cracks me up. The best piece of Tarantino trivia is that he originally wanted to be an actor, and I'm like, you made the right call, man. You're not an actor. You're not a leading man. You're not even a character actor.
No.
You're barely an extra.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate him in most of his other roles.
No, he's
especially like early on. I like him in like Reservoir Dogs.
I mean, yeah, he's good in Reservoir Dogs.
He's fine. I like him in enough in From Dusk Till Dawn.
He's fucking terrible in Django Unchained. Like,
he's awful in that.
He derails his own third act in that movie. I cannot believe he saw that and went, yeah, I just nailed that take. Like, no, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, God.
Anyway, Planet Terror, thumbs up. 2 thumbs up from us. Even
Planet Terror rules.
Take out those 2 scenes, like we said, and it's kind of just almost a 5-star banger that way.
5 toes and an AK-47.
That's how we should rate our movies from now on. And toes, the toe rating. What would you? Well, okay. Well, I guess we'll do this. We'll do it at the end. Our ratings. Then the trailers between this are, we get the Thanksgiving trailer, which I mean, all of us have seen. It's iconic. It's classic. I love. It's. I don't know if it might. Yeah, it's my favorite trailer. It's my favorite fake trailer. I think it's the one that
best one.
It's the best one. It's the one that fits the vibe that it's going for the best.
Yeah.
Like if you told
love
anyone
the Halloween
opening,
opening. Yeah, it's great. The human turkey. I hope that I mean, I know that I've heard Roth talk about recreating that for the feature length. So like, I'm just excited to see that in the feature length, like what process that takes, what the context around the human turkey is, because like that sequence, like when the human turkey is unveiled, it's so gross and so funny. And I just like, oh God, it's one of the best gross out gags I have ever seen.
Or when Eli Roth loses his head while getting head in the car.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm so excited to watch Thanksgiving.
I love it. Yeah. The other trailer that they show is Don't.
Yes.
I love it's like a 1980s, 1970s ghost story from Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you a whole lot about the plot, and it's just, hey, this British ghost story that's also sort of a slasher.
it nails it nails the tone of like what the movie, even if you don't know anything about the movie. You're like, yeah, there's a specific, like, I know what type of movie this is. It's great to see, like, especially like before Edgar Wright got like super mainstream over here, it's super great to see like a bunch of the people that he used to collaborate with on his like earlier indie British films. Like I love that. That was I forget what the actress's name is, but she always plays the evil stepsister and things. Ella Enchanted might be her biggest credit. But she's in Hot Fuzz as the actress that gets decapitated in the car. That was my first, like, I forgot who had done the Don't trailer. And as it started, I was like, oh God, who did this one again? And then her face popped up. I'm like, it's Edgar Wright. I was like, I know it's Edgar Wright. So yeah. I like the Don't trailer.
Yeah, I do too.
I would take a feature length of that one too.
All of them I want to be into feature length movies.
Oh yeah.
The next one maybe the most. So now that we finally got Thanksgiving, Rob Zombie needs to make this movie. He needs to make The Werewolf Woman of the SS. This trailer is incredible.
Yep.
It's exactly what you expect from Rob Zombie making a werewolf Nazi exploitation movie with Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu.
They wouldn't be able to do that now.
They should still do it. They get a pass if it's funding. They get a pass if it's Nicolas Cage. We're in the Cage-assance.
We are in the Cage-assance, but I think that might end the Cage-assance given today's political climate. Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Watching it now, and I'm like, it's so tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it is.
Because of who's playing Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
Like, and Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu. It's like, that's the joke.
Yes. That you have and I think within the trailer that works. I think stretching that out to a feature length, that's tougher. I think they would have to be careful.
You just have him in like 2 scenes. Like, he doesn't need to be the main character.
That's true.
Bill Moseley as a crazy scientist as the villain. Like, come on, that's the movie.
Moseley.
Love him. All right. Yeah. We want all these. So please, someone give Rob Zombie and Edgar Wright funding to make these last ones.
Yeah.
All
right.
Let's move into Death Proof.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into this. Okay. So you know how go ahead.
I just want to start off by saying I hate how problematic this movie has become. I loathe it. I don't like any of the behind the scenes stuff. That like transpired with Rose McGowan. I hate that that's kind of tainted this movie. Because this is a movie that I hold pretty close to me. Like I said, it was kind of a formative memory. But Death Proof. Casey, you said you liked it more this time around.
I liked it more this time around than I did the last time. Full disclosure, and this might be the thing I get the most hate for on our podcast ever. I think Tarantino's fine. I don't love Quentin Tarantino movies.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. And it's not like Tarantino's a bad filmmaker. He's not. He makes great homages to other films with his own style. And I think that's obviously why people love the Tarantino thing is...
And I think he has done a few films that you could consider great. And I think for everybody, that's a little different. But I also think people who are like, oh, he's infallible. I'm like, look at his whole filmography.
There are some great ones in there. I think I lean towards the earlier stuff. Pulp Fiction, I love, like, easily my favorite Tarantino. I love Reservoir Dogs. I love Kill Bill 1 and 2. They're 2 different movies. Can't tell me otherwise. You already made 10 movies, Quentin Tarantino. Anyway, Death Proof, on the other hand, is one of those. So the thing I liked more this time, and I just latched onto, was Kurt Russell. Like, that's what I latched onto this time watching it. The first time I watched it, obviously, I love Kurt Russell. I loved the car chase sequences. It just was bogged down by the dialogue. sequences. And still, those are my least favorite parts of this movie. It feels like Tarantino just wanting to hear his words on the big screen, which I guess if you're funding the movie and you're making your own, whatever, you can do that. That's fine. It doesn't mean I need to like it. What I don't love is that I think the order of these movies should be reversed.
In terms of the
Grindhouse experience, as we're talking about, Death Proof should have been the first one.
Yes.
And Planet Terror should be the B side.
I agree, because Planet Terror is the midnight movie.
Yes.
Like,
Death Proof is the one go ahead. We're going to say
you open the drive-through with Death Proof.
Yeah.
It's less gory. It's got a little bit more of a like straightforward, like action thriller type of vibe to it.
The sun has just set. It's barely setting, and you're starting the trailer for Machete. And you go right into Death Proof as the sun is setting. The entire movie basically is during the day. I mean, the first part is during the night, but it goes into an entire day sequence in the second half of the movie. And then you end the night with Planet Terror. It's the midnight movie.
Yep. Exactly.
And for Rose McGowan, the actress, who what happens in this triumph. Movie? Yes, because in this movie she gets no agency.
She gets annihilated.
Nothing to do, and gets brutally murdered.
Yeah.
Just after we watched her as the badass hero of the last movie with the big triumphant ending, and then just gets brutally murdered by Kurt Russell. It feels icky. I don't like that.
Yep.
And
she's really good with the material, just like because she's Rose McGowan. Like, I mean, let's face it, Tatum's one of the best Scream characters. Like, Rose McGowan elevates everything she's in. And I agree. It's like you watch a whole hour and a half of her just like coming into her own. She's a badass warrior. And then you come to this and she's just like a barfly with no friends who gets into a car, like stupidly too. Like, not for 1 minute was I like, no, she gets into this car now. After she like, she's not in the car by the time she senses something's off. There's not even a seat, and she still gets in. I'm like, no, like, so I agree. I will say, I really still like Death Proof. It holds a very special place in my heart. It's funny that it went up for you this time because it went down for me a little bit.
Okay.
It went down for me a little bit. We're
probably still at like the same like star rating for the movie either way, but
probably. This movie is like the Grindhouse experience in total is a little bit of a mixed bag, but the stuff that works really works, you know?
And like, I don't know, the thing I'm still kind of iffy on, and I understand why the movie is set up this way, where we start off with Jungle Julia and her friends at the bar, and that's where they get to meet stuntman Mike, Kurt Russell, and then they get like halfway through the movie, they get killed off. After we spend so much time with them, getting to know who they are, who their characters are, even so much where it's like, I don't know, there feels like there's more to those characters, and I guess that's why then you kill them off.
It's a little bit of that Psycho homage type of thing, right?
Yeah, as your gut punch. Which in that case, I think it works. And maybe it's just I want to hang out with these characters a little more. That could definitely be part of it too.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the group of girls, I'd rather hang out more with this first group than the second group, I guess.
It's weird,
and that's nothing against them, but go ahead.
But they feel less developed, right?
Yes.
And I think it's because you don't spend as much time with them before the shit really hits the fan. And like you said earlier, Tarantino's usually very well regarded for his dialogue. It falls really flat in this. Like, I feel like the first set of girls are talking like he's trying to do a Kevin Smith riff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the way they're talking, like graphically about sex. I'm like, did he watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and was like, oh, that's what I need? Like, I don't know. This time watching it, that's what it felt like to me. I was like, it didn't feel Tarantino. It felt like Tarantino aiming lowbrow. And it didn't work for me. That said, those girls have a lot of character and you do get attached to them. Then they're dispatched and he starts it over again, but the dialogue doesn't really get better. So like you're just introduced to a second
set. It gets worse in my opinion.
It does. Yeah. And like, okay, I never picked up on this. Zoe Bell is playing herself.
Yeah.
Who is Zoe Bell?
So, you don't know? Okay, so I mean,
I have no idea who that is. I know her from this movie. That's
it's this movie. She's Uma Thurman's stunt performer in Kill Bill.
Okay.
And has worked with Tarantino. She's friends with Tarantino. She looks exactly like Uma Thurman. It's kind of scary how much those two look alike.
Okay.
He wrote this movie for her and like, hey, I want you to be the lead character in this movie, and it's about a stunt performer. You're going to play yourself.
Okay.
Which, that's case.
Kind of
that's
cool.
fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that she gets to be like the main hero in the end. Sort of.
Yeah, a little bit. She's really funny.
She's really funny. She has to share it with the two other gals, which is fine as a group that they get to be the heroes. But it is definitely set up more that Zoe Bell is the
like
gonna be the hero.
Yeah.
And
I really hate.
And by the end, spoilers for the end, she doesn't get like the big moment.
No.
Like
she gets
Rosario Dawson does.
Yeah, which is like weird. Like they do so. Yeah, it's just not Tarantino's strongest. Yeah.
No.
So like, yeah, you get Okay, going back to the first set of girls, the crash sequence.
Let's talk about it. Okay.
I don't like the Rose McGowan stuff. I think it's mean. It's
just unnecessary.
It sours it a little bit.
How would you feel if it was a different actress, just someone else in that role?
Maybe a little bit better.
I think I would feel a little bit better too.
Yeah.
I would still feel it's kind of unnecessary because we then just get the other sequence with Stuntman Mike and the four girls in the car.
Yeah. I get why it's there. It sets him up. Like Russell's line reading, like the whole like, are you going left or right? And she goes right, and he goes like, oh damn it, like, and does that whole spiel where he's like, well, now you're just gonna have to get scared right away, and he veers off left. Like that's such a great moment. But then like, and the line, the whole like, I told you it was 100% death proof, and that's true. Thing is, you gotta be in the driver's seat. Boom. Like, great moment, but then when you have the close-up of her just like annihilated and it just lingers on that, it's a little bit like, oh, like I don't know.
Russell's incredible in this movie.
He's so good.
He's the MVP of this movie.
This is one of my favorite Kurt Russell roles.
Yeah. And I think of people who love Death Proof, I think if Russell was not in that lead role, people would not love the movie the way that they do. Because he is, for me, he's the movie with that final chase sequence is also incredible. But Kurt Russell is like the reason I stick with this movie until that final chase. Because he's so good. His line delivery in this movie, he's still like classic Kurt Russell, like a charmer. But he has this kind of just that little sadistic side to him in this.
He can.
We'll never losing that Kurt Russell charm, though.
Yeah, even when he's getting like the shit kicked out of him towards the end, like you almost expect him to start.
That feels like Jack Burton's getting the shit kicked out of him. Like he's like
Doesn't
crying
it?
and stuff.
It's so funny. Like, oh God, he's such a wimp. He's such a wimp when push comes to shove.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of just, that's what I love about Russell is like, you're right. It's the Jack Burton thing. He is not afraid to play the machismo, the big gun type of guy who, like, as soon as you back him into a corner, he's fucking worthless.
He's useless. Yeah.
He's just like, and he's not afraid to go there, and that just makes me appreciate him so much more.
Okay, I want to go back to the where Jungle Julia and her friends get killed. That sequence.
Yes.
I don't love it.
Really? Why?
And the reason I don't is because they show it from every angle.
You don't like that?
No, I hate it. It feels
gratuitous
showy. And gratuitous and gross and showy and kind of misogynistic.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's gross. It's icky. If they did the one sequence and just maybe had them all cut together, that would be fine. It's the fact that they keep going back to Russell's car hitting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a little overdone, isn't it?
Yes, I don't like it.
Yeah, I like the gore effects.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they're cool.
The way you're right, the way it's like kind of shot and cut together, it's like it's kind of one of the things you have to grapple with Tarantino movies, regardless of how much you enjoy them, is that he does very much glorify violence in his movies. Like there is a lot of just like, and a lot of it, especially in like Hateful Eight, it's violence towards women, and that can sometimes be even more like, and put you off. And like, yeah, this movie definitely falls into that pattern of his.
And during that scene, I'm going to go back to something that Ryan posted here. He said, with Tarantino, I feel like it doesn't matter what assignment you give him, he's still going to make a Tarantino film. And for me, that's what Death Proof is.
Yeah.
It's Tarantino doing a Grindhouse type of movie.
Yep.
Not more so Tarantino just doing a Tarantino movie with the Grindhouse feel, I guess, theme to it. Especially during that sequence where you keep cutting from the 4 different angles like that.
Yeah.
That's a style that's not going to be in a Grindhouse movie.
No.
Yeah. I will say the first half of the movie, I didn't hate Tarantino in the acting role as the bar owner.
Oh yeah.
I didn't.
God, I kind of forget he's.
Yeah, he's forgettable.
I forget he's
which
in
is
it.
Good.
Yeah, that's good because when he's not forgettable, he's bad.
Yeah. I remember the first time I watched it thinking Eli Roth was more grating, and he's kind of just there in this. I kind of wanted more because I like Eli Roth.
He always kind of plays the same character in all of his cameos, though, doesn't he? Like,
he's
like always just kind of this obnoxious douchebag, except for his one actual like acting role in Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah. Which he's great in.
He's so good. Eli Roth is legit a good actor with the right material. Yeah.
He was in Piranha 3D.
That's right. Oh my God, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch that.
Playing the same character he does in like anything else besides Inglourious Basterds.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, he's fine in this movie. Like he's just kind of there.
Yep. I wish he would have gotten hit by Stuntman Mike or something. I don't know. Just a quick shot of him wandering drunk out into the open road, and Stuntman Mike just comes by him.
Like, what if? And I think this would have saved the stuff we didn't like with Rose McGowan, where it's like, again, she looks inside the car, sees that there's not a seat. She should have been like, yeah, I'm just walking home. And you have Roth stumble out of the bar drunk, and he's like, hey man, can I get a ride?
Yeah.
And he gets in the car, and he's the one that gets killed.
See, to me, that's such a much more interesting angle too. Like, we've seen so many movies about dudes that like enact violence on women who reject them at bars, and it's like, oh, like it just, It feels tired. It feels worn out. It feels especially kind of. Maybe that's why I didn't like Death Proof as much this time, is because I watched it after Planet Terror, which I feels like handles its female. Like, yeah, you're right. Discussing it, like Planet Terror, hands down takes the cake as far as female empowerment and good, strong female characters.
That's not to say Death Proof doesn't have that. I
no,
think it does. It just doesn't do it quite as well as Planet Terror does. And when it does it well, it's the juxtaposition of like, it does it so bad in the first half of Death Proof that it has a lot to build up towards in that second half, and it doesn't quite reach there. It gets close because I think like Zoe Bell is great, Rosario Dawson,
Tracy Thoms.
Yes, Mary Elizabeth Winstead has nothing to do in this movie. Poor gal.
I hate how much they waste her, especially leaving her with like the creepy guy at the
with
car.
Adam Sandler's friend.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on, that's.
Here's the way. Okay, so when we get to the second half, we get set up with those characters with Zoe Bell and her friends that are working on a movie together. Two of them are stunt women. Rosario Dawson, I think, is like the makeup person.
Yeah, and she's a mom.
And she's a mom, I guess.
They bring it up at one point, and then it's never brought up again. They're like, you can't come with because you're a mom, and she's like, no, I'm going, and they're like, okay.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead is one of the lead actresses in whatever movie that they're shooting.
Yeah.
So that's the like group.
And she
together.
plays a cheerleader, and she also wears her movie costume out. Like
the entire time. What?
I just come on.
And here's the thing that's weird about that. So you have the group of friends, and I want to talk a little bit about the diner sequence because I don't like it. It's boring and
it feels like
showy.
It feels like you ordered the opening of Reservoir Dogs on Wish.com.
Yeah. It provides really nothing for the movie except it's like an 8-minute long sequence, all one take. And it's literally to set up that Zoe Bell wants to drive a Dodge Challenger.
Yeah.
Like that's all it sets up.
Yeah.
And it could have been one line of dialogue.
Yep.
Instead, it takes 8 minutes long and it's, I don't know, it's not very well. I don't think it's very well blocked either. I might get yelled at for saying that, but I don't know. I don't like the sequence. I didn't like the scene. It's not very good.
Yeah.
And then you get to the sequence where they're going to buy the car from Adam Sandler's friend. I don't know what the guy's name is. He's not Dante. He's the other one that shows up in every Adam Sandler movie. And they just leave Mary Elizabeth Winstead with him.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason.
Collateral,
even though
he didn't ask for collateral. Or at least we never see him.
The car that they drove in, their other muscle car that they drove in, is still sitting there.
Yeah.
That couldn't have just been left as collateral. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, why isn't she with them? Because in the end, I mean, Kurt Russell in his death-proof car chases them down in their muscle car. And then there's a role reversal when they crash of now the girls are chasing Stuntman Mike. Yeah. And I think that's the best part of Death Proof is that 30-minute, 20-minute sequence there. Incredible.
The one thing I do love about the diner sequence is that it does set up the gun thing. They have the conversation about her having the gun. Or is that when they're already in the car? I don't know. No, it's when they're in the restaurant. She talks about the
restaurant, but it's really weird.
Yeah, so she talks about the gun, but then
it's not very natural.
No, not at all. It's really bad dialogue, which is not something you typically say about Tarantino, but the dialogue in this movie feels first draft at best.
Again, when I talk about the blocking of that scene, we as the audience don't get to see that gun.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the table from where the camera is.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to do the Reservoir Dogs circle.
Yep.
It's awful. It's a bad scene. It's a bad scene.
But you get the payoff where, and I think it's really funny where they do the initial crash or whatever, and Kurt Russell pops out of his car and he's laughing. He's like, God, that was fun and everything. And Tracy Thoms just gets out of the car, pulls her gun and just puts one in his shoulder.
And then his immediate switch of like, oh God, like I'm shot, I'm in trouble. Like, and it barely like grazes him too, you know?
Yeah, it's like not
in
even
his
that
arm.
big of a deal. And
yeah,
he's just like crying and whimpering and sniveling as he gets back into his car and drives away. And he's yelling, like he's calling him names as he drives away. And I'm just like, oh, dude.
and then like he pulls out the booze and can't dump it on his arm because it's gonna like tingle a little.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's such a little man. He's such a little man. And then you just get like a bonkers cool like 20-minute car chase. That ends with Zoe Bell flying off the hood of a car and then popping up and being like, I'm fine. And then
I love the turn of events where like, should we go get him? Yeah, let's go get him. And like they're chasing after him. It's incredible. I love that. I wish the movie had been more of that vibe because I feel like that's a different vibe than the first half of the movie.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm going to pull up Ryan's comment here. Talking about the thing we were yelling about. Here's why he didn't mind the Jungle Julia crash sequence.
It's a good point. It's a really good point.
The point of Kurt Russell's character is that he's a misogynist. He's a little man who is nothing without his car, which is where his reaction at the end makes sense. I think what Tarantino was going for with that first death scene is that it's supposed to build up the hate for Stuntman Mike as a creepy power mad misogynist. Yeah. I mean, that's what it goes for.
It's effective.
I don't think it's effective.
You don't?
No, I just think it's gross and icky, and it's like there's other ways you could have gone about us as the audience not liking Stuntman Mike.
Yeah, I guess
because here's the deal: I still like Stuntman Mike.
Well, yeah,
because it's Kurt Russell.
It's Kurt Russell.
Maybe that's the problem
there's an innate likability there.
Likability to Kurt Russell. I don't know. It's
and even when he's playing a truly despicable character, he can't quite turn it off. You know what I mean? Like that's just how Kurt Russell is.
Mm-hmm. And again, maybe if someone else was Stuntman Mike, even though I said no one else could play him, if someone else was him, I might feel a little differently. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think I'd also hate this movie.
Yeah, but I would probably hate this movie like outright. But yeah. I don't know. It'd be an entirely different movie.
Yep.
How do you feel about the end of this movie? So the movie ends.
I love the abrupt ending.
They crash his car. They like cheer. The end.
I love the sequence real quick. Like very final part right before they like officially obliterate his car, where he like runs him off the road, and they're on that side road, and they're just going like, please don't be a dead end. Please don't be a dead end. And the coolest shot of this entire movie is that where it's following Kurt Russell and in the background, all of a sudden you just see their car come. Like that shot just, it blows my mind every time. I get little chills. And then they get out of the car and they punch him a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And they cheer and it freeze frames the end. I love that. To me, like,
well, that's not the end.
What?
And then Rosario Dawson like kicks his face in.
Oh yeah, she like stomps. Yeah. She stomps his face. Yeah. So the second half of this movie is much better than the first half of this movie. I think.
Much better.
I love the final car chase, and I think that alone is worth recommending this movie for. But yeah, like with a lot of Tarantino's, for lack of a better term, like edgier stuff, like this has some of those warts that I think that make a lot of people find his movies hard to swallow sometimes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little rough. It's a little rough around the edges. And depending on your tolerance for that kind of thing, I could see people not liking this one.
Yeah, even as someone who I like, again, like I said, I like Tarantino. I don't worship at the altar of Tarantino and women's feet.
Mm-hmm.
But and this movie opens with women's feet. which also feels very gross because Tarantino's thing. Anyway, the thing is, like, I will never say this about any other Tarantino film. This one feels half-baked.
Yeah.
Whereas I think every other Tarantino movie feels like that's his vision he wanted, and it's fully fledged out to what he wanted it to be. Yeah. This one feels so half-baked in its concept, and you get the little nuggets of greatness because it is Tarantino still. I still think he's still a fantastic director.
He's a great talent. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I don't love all this stuff, I'm not going to say he's a bad director. But in this one, there's great stuff in it. It's just bogged down with these half-baked ideas that just don't work. And there's maybe too many of them for me to love this movie. But I think the two big things that outweigh it, Kurt Russell in general, Stuntman Mike, he's incredible in this movie.
Yep.
Luckily, we get a ton of him. And even in that first half where I don't like the first half of this movie, he's easily the best part. And then in the second half, luckily, most of the second half is that car chase sequence.
Yeah.
Which is
incredible.
Like why you buy a ticket to the movie.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I think between Russell and that final act car chase, like, it's enough for this one to be like, I don't think it's one of Tarantino's best movies by any means. I don't necessarily know if I'd call it his worst though either. I don't know what I'd put below this, but
it's his worst.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know what else I would put below this.
Maybe The Hateful Eight?
Yeah. That one's better written than this.
Yeah, that's true. And it's better staged. Not enough Kurt Russell, though.
Here's the thing. I'm not the one to talk about Tarantino movies in terms of best to worst, because I think Inglourious Bastards is like bottom 3. So,
that's insane.
My opinion means nothing.
Mine doesn't either, because I have an even hotter take, maybe. I think Pulp Fiction is in the bottom half.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know. I like Pulp Fiction. I don't know. I don't love Pulp Fiction the same way everybody else does. I think it's got some great segments. I hate the GIMP section. I don't like any.
And I love Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, there's a middle part of that movie. Like, from the end of Christopher Walken's monologue to the GIMP scene, I check out of that movie. I'm just like, ugh, I don't care.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
Enough Tarantino talk. We're not ever going to talk about him again.
So many tangents. I should say I did so many tangents.
That's fine.
Yeah. You're right. This is probably the only time we'll ever talk about Tarantino, so
we're getting it all out.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get to our ratings. Planet Terror. We're gonna do them separate, and then the entire Grindhouse experience is one. So, Planet Terror, I give Planet Terror 4 out of 5. 4 screams out of 5.
I think I'm gonna be pretty boring with this. I think I'm gonna give the same star rating to both movies and the entire experience.
You're an insane person.
No, you know what? Okay, through discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I know immediately after I watched this, I messaged you Death Proof over. Death Proof is better than Planet Terror. I'd like to recant that statement. Through discussion, I'm realizing, like, nostalgia may have clouded me a little bit.
Okay.
The more I sit and think with Death Proof, the more I'm like, yeah, the stuff I didn't pick up on when I was like, 11 watching this movie. Yeah. Oh wait, I would have been older than 11. I don't know. Whatever. The stuff that I did not pick up on as a dumb teenager.
Yeah.
That I pick up on now kind of diminishes this. So I would give Planet Terror 3.5.
Okay.
3.5 for me.
I still give. So Death Proof, the first time I watched it, gave it like a 2-star.
Okay.
I did not like it. I gave it 3.5 this time.
Okay.
In discussion, maybe it's more towards 3 because I was kind of shitting on the movie more than
That's
I
so
was
crazy.
praising it. But I still give it a 3.5. I think I would watch this movie again and maybe just fast forward through the stuff I don't like.
It's crazy that you say that because I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm actually gonna give it a lower rate it's just because like Planet Terror to me is not quite at a 4-star.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right in the middle of 3 and 4 for me, and I like Death Proof a little bit less, so it's got to be down to like both of them are probably around a 3.5, but like I don't know. Death Proof gets a 3. And then how would you rate Grindhouse as a whole?
So like I said, Planet Terror was 4. I gave Death Proof 3.5. And here's the thing, maybe that's why I gave Death Proof 3.5. It's because the entire Grindhouse experience, as if it was one singular movie and I had to give it a Letterboxd star rating, I'd give it a 4.
Okay.
And maybe that's why Death Proof is at 3.5, because the entire experience of watching Grindhouse together as one thing makes that movie elevate higher than it would.
Yeah. I mean, as an experience with
the trailers, everything.
Fuck. I think I ended up giving it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, but like the presentation itself, like the package that this is put together in, is like I said, it's singular. It's like nothing else. I'd give it 4. I'd give it 4 stars. I'd even go as far as to say the experience itself is like 5 stars, but the contents are more of just like a 4-star type of, you know what I mean? Like it is not a perfect, neither one of these movies are perfect. I don't think The Thing as a whole is perfect, but like it's the only thing like it in existence.
What I equate it to is what it's going for is like you go to the movie with your friends and I'm going to watch this movie and then this one right after. And for us, we don't get necessarily the full double feature where you buy a ticket for 2 movies type of thing, like the drive-in or something like that, unless you go to the drive-in. But like even going to the cinemas, if I'm going to watch one movie, stay in the theater and watch another movie right after. What's that experience like? I'm not going to like everything about it. It's going to be too long. I'm going to have to need a pee break at some point. I'm not going to love both movies. I'm not going to love the trailers. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll love the trailers more than either of the movies just because they're 2 to 3 minute snippets of greatness versus 90 minutes to 2 hours of the entire story.
I hate when the best part of your theater experience.
It's the trailer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's the worst. When you walk out of a movie going like, oh, the best part was when I got to see the whatever trailer. Like, you know the movie was just bad. I don't know. I've had a few theater experience. I don't go to the theater much anymore. And I haven't had a whole lot of luck with theater experiences this year.
So as much as I hated Exorcist Believer, one of my favorite experiences was watching that trailer before Oppenheimer because I didn't like Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And I was burned then too. Yeah. Anyway, hot take. Didn't like Oppenheimer.
That's okay.
Internet subscribing from this podcast. I'm sorry, Sam.
That's okay.
Oh, Ryan, you didn't like Oppenheimer either? See, I'm not alone. Okay, I'm not the only weirdo out there that didn't care for.
I think he just meant in general theater experiences have not been great.
Well, I'm waiting for his reply before we end this show to hear if he likes It's fine, whatever. Anyway, what are we moving on to, Sam? What do we got next?
I'm gonna shout out where we're at on socials.
Ryan hasn't seen Oppenheimer.
Me either, Ryan.
I'm just gonna assume you don't
like a huge hurry.
Yeah.
I like Nolan. Nolan's very much. Well, Nolan's my enemy because he's the reason that Hellboy 3 doesn't exist. So screw him. But I'm not a Nolan fanboy. I'm just not.
See, we stand so many different people than regular movie bros out there that stand Christopher Nolan and Tarantino. Our boys are like, yeah, Stuart Gordon, come on.
Pick someone who actually uses color palettes. Like seriously.
Pick someone who you can actually hear the dialogue in their movie.
Yeah. Or at least pick someone with explosions like Michael Bay.
Hey, there we Oppenheimer. Go. Oppenheimer has one explosion.
One explosion. There we go. I just recommended
and another 2 off screen.
I just recommended Michael Bay over Chris Nolan. The internet's gonna murder us.
Anyway, Sam, we better wrap this up before they all unsubscribe from us. But if they want to subscribe instead, where can they subscribe to this podcast?
They can subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or YouTube, where you can watch us. And I can do thumb things, and sometimes things pop up. Come on, thumb.
Come on.
Yeah.
Why doesn't mine work?
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with this. It's so funny.
Anyway, Sam, okay. Where can they find us on social media if they want to yell at us for saying Tarantino and Nolan are fine?
Yeah, well, if you ever want to talk about our hot takes with us, you can hate mail us at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. We probably won't check TikTok, but we will eventually. But
we should just make a TikTok where we just like hate on Christopher Nolan and Tarantino.
Yeah.
It's the only content we put out.
Yeah, just farm those hate clicks.
Why Memento was mid.
Hey, now Memento's actually really good.
I like Memento. That was a bad example of what we would do.
Oh man. All right.
This is a weird episode. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks
Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks, man.
Sam, the other things we got coming out, we have a couple interviews.
I
guess format sort of change. Hopefully, if this sticks.
Yeah.
Every other week, you're going to get us rambling about why Tarantino and Nolan are mid, and then on those off weeks, you get an interview with us talking to filmmakers.
Yeah,
we have a couple out right now. We talked to filmmaker Joe Castro, who did the Tiny Terrors quadrilogy.
Terror Tunes.
Sorry, Tiny Terrors was the Full Moon toys. Terror Tunes. I'm sorry. Terror Tunes, the 4th film is out right now, so go check that interview and the movie out.
Yeah.
We also talked to Brooks Davis, who came out with the brand new Full Moon film, Bring Her to Me, just streaming on Full Moon right now. And then we have a couple interviews coming up shortly.
Unnamed filmmakers as of yet, but some good ones.
We'll tease them here. Be on the lookout.
We actually just recorded one tonight, and it was super fun. So.
And you nerds won't be able to listen to it for like 3 weeks. It's Christopher Nolan.
Get ready for our 3-hour chat with Christopher Nolan about Oppenheimer.
The thing is, I turned all of his dialogue down, so you can't hear what he's talking about.
Yeah. All you hear is our questions, no answers.
The way Nolan intended. All right. Well, be on the lookout for those in this podcast feed as you're listening to right now. Sam, what do we got coming up next time we do this? Nothing. We don't have an episode plan. We'll talk about that off air.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I thought we never mind.
I don't know. We'll talk about it off air. Anyway, right. Thank you all for listening. And thank you all for tuning in. And Sam, what's our sign off?
Thanks for tuning in. And sweet screams.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.